Hello and welcome to another weekly update, another week done. Gosh, another thing to happen. Seems like time's going quicker and quicker at the moment. That's always the way, I think. It's busy times, lots and lots of things happening. Anyway, lots to talk about. It's a funny kind of time of year, this kind of time. Lots of people go on vacation, lots of people go on holidays. So the cadence of news definitely slows down a little bit, I think. And that's kind of what we find. Often it's broken up by conferences as well, less so this year, although there's been lots and lots of international virtual conferences happening. So that's been kind of interesting, and we've seen lots of things happening and coming out of that, and I'll talk about some of those in a minute, but obviously no in-person conferences really happening. So there's definitely lots of things to talk about. I guess bringing it back a bit to the things that have been going on this week, and a few things I want to talk through and talk about that have been happening this week. So first of which is a blog post I put out earlier this week. I want to say a few days ago now. So let's talk about that. So I'm going to be talking at TeamsFest. So that's kind of exciting. It's a 100% free kind of community-driven conference. It's dedicated to Microsoft Teams, brings together some kind of lots of different people like developers, IT pros. There's lots and lots of different events happening this year. I'm not sure if it's more or less than last year, or this is like last time they ran it, because it's not the first time they're running it, I think. But anyway, I'm going to be talking at it. I'm going to be talking, they're running 8 simultaneous rooms throughout the day, which is amazing. I'm going to be talking at 11 to 11:30 CET time, so that's 10 to 10:30 BST time. I'm going to be in room 6 of 8. There's lots of other things obviously happening at the same time. Well, 7 other things happening at the same time. So that's definitely worth checking out, TeamsFest. It's 100% free, it's 100% community driven, and it's completely dedicated to Microsoft Teams. So it's another good conference in the conference agenda to look at. So that all sounds awesome. Next stuff coming up. Oh yeah, so I was going to talk about this camera a bit. So I put a video on YouTube earlier in the week, and I'm playing around with YouTube more and more now, and I'm trying to look at streaming, I'm trying to look at recording. The thing you saw kind of going into this, there's like a little countdown. If you're watching on the stream, you might see some of it on the recording. I'm playing around with OBS and just kind of looking at my whole setup, because spending more and more time obviously in this home office, less and less time traveling and going to conferences and speaking and visiting customers and all that stuff. So I wanted to kind of improve the setup I had here. And actually that coincided with Aver Technologies very kindly sending me one of their Cam 540 4K conference cameras. So I've hooked it up, and that's what I'm using right now to talk to you with. I did like an unboxing video. I put it onto YouTube. So if that's interesting, you can go and look at it. But I'm actually going to link to Josh's. So Josh Bloalock. I'm not sure that's how you pronounce his surname. Sorry, Josh, if it's not. He did an unboxing video that's much better than mine, so I'm going to link to his instead, because he does a good overview, he does some good demo, he's got some good demo feed from it, he talks through it in a lot more detail than I did, so I would go and look at his as well if I were you. And I wish I'd looked at his and seen his before I did mine, because I might not have bothered. Anyway, so that's definitely worth looking at. The other things I want to talk through this week are some other blog posts. Like I said, the cadence of news has kind of slowed down a little bit, and I'm just going to Friday afternoon here in the UK, and it's 4:35, and so I'm definitely doing this. This is a roaster coaster. It's a Nitro Imperial Vietnamese coffee stout. It looks amazing. So I'm pretty excited for this. Anyway, like I said, with so much vacation and like people away this time of year, the cadence of news definitely slows up a little bit from the kind of official Microsoft sources. But there's always things to talk about, and it's a good excuse actually to go and look out around a little bit in the community and see what else is being talked about and see who else is writing blog posts and stuff. And this is where this led me to this blog post by Chris Barden, long time kind of expert in Skype for Business and then Teams around kind of development, bots and all the rest of it. And people put out a blog post last week around OAuth authentication for Teams bots for getting to graph access. So it's a good comprehensive blog post about how you do authentication. I like how he starts. He starts his blog post with the sentence, "Authentication sucks," which as a developer I kind of can totally resonate with. It's always such a pain. It's always the cause of bugs and stuff, but I guess it's life. It's the reality of the world in which we live. Anyway, cheers. That's a really nice imperial coffee stout. That's lovely. So go read Chris's blog post. Actually, if you do anything with Teams bots, if you care about authenticating to Microsoft Graph and all that stuff, definitely worth looking at. It's a good blog post. So that's interesting. So next thing I want to show you is something really different actually, and I kind of debated whether or not to include this or not because in some ways I don't want to kind of teach you to suck eggs, but so Scott Hanselman is kind of long-term Microsofty. He's a famous name inside Microsoft development circles. He heads up the kind of .NET developer platform. I think I got that right. Big evangelist. And he's written this blog post around, and the title is, "What is .NET? How does it work? Is it a language or a platform?" It's aimed at kind of, I guess, non-developers or developers who are not into the .NET space, and people who kind of have heard of .NET and kind of know what it is, but not really, right? So a lot of people I talk to fall into that camp. So they might be IT pro people. They do PowerShell. They do bot framework stuff. They do some of the low code, no code stuff. But .NET may not have been something they've completely got into yet. So I thought this was a good one to include this week. It's actually a video Scott has done. It's straight to YouTube, so you can just search for it in YouTube if you want. It's just called "What is .NET?" It's 20 minutes long. It's really well edited. It's pretty tight. Covers C#, F#, NuGet. It's a really good, like, if you could throw it to people and be like, "Hey, if you want to know what .NET is, just go watch this video. It'll bring you up to speed. Everything you need to know." It doesn't make any big assumptions about what you already know or don't know. So I thought it was a really good resource to include. And finally, I think I could witter on for ages, but I'm going to talk about this last thing and then witter on for a little bit. This is kind of, again, kind of looking out at different bits of information, not necessarily totally tied to Teams development, but kind of of general interest. Microsoft is kind of trying to phase out IE 11 again. And also Legacy Edge as well. So Legacy Edge, you've got Internet Explorer, Legacy Edge, and New Edge. So I think everyone knows what Internet Explorer is, and I think we can all agree it should probably go away by now. We've got Legacy Edge, and then obviously following the movement over to the Chromium-based Edge, that's now become Legacy Edge, and I kind of think Legacy Edge's time has come as well, really. This is some new information from Mary Jo Foley at allaboutmicrosoft.com. It's kind of funny in a way that we're at August 2020 and Microsoft is still supporting IE. They're still supporting Legacy Edge, and they're breaking new ground with New Edge, 3 very distinct browsers. But their plan is to not be doing that by this time next year, basically. November 30, 2020, Teams will no longer support IE 11. So that's really interesting because Microsoft Teams, obviously a really big part of Microsoft strategy right now, a lot of innovation, but it's all modern browser stuff. It's all React. It's all it's WebRTC based. They must spend an awful lot of time making it work on IE 11, and I'm pretty sure they don't really want to do that. So from November the 30th, they are going to stop doing that. So you won't be able to use Microsoft Teams on IE 11. So if you're still using Internet Explorer and you want to use Teams, you're going to have to move onto something else. And August 2021, Microsoft is just going to stop supporting IE 11 for anything. So that's probably, I guess, the time when IE 11 is really going to go away by. After March the 9th, 2021, that's when Microsoft will stop providing security updates for Legacy Edge, and they're calling that end of life for Legacy Edge. So this time next year, we'll have a clearer picture, I guess, and we'll be down to just the one browser. Yeah, it's interesting. I get the pay Microsoft feel from big organizations, big corporations, but really kind of at this point, I feel like people should have moved off IE by now. I know there's good reasons for staying still on this legacy software, but I think the writing has been on the wall for quite a long time. So, yeah, I think that's this week. There's been lots going on. It's a busy week, but everyone's on holiday, so there's no real big news announcements particularly. Lots of good things to read and look up and look at. And I touched a little bit on my kind of personal kind of home setup. I've talked about before, I think, about moving around the different rooms, and this is now my study. I put a TV on the wall behind me. That was kind of interesting. Let me show you that. There you go. The plan is to put a unit behind me as well and build that out a little bit, make it a little bit more interesting. I've had some problems actually. I didn't think I did have problems until about 15 minutes ago when I started recording this. It turns out I have some streaming problems. So the plan was to stream this and record it at the same time. I'm hoping the recording works okay because the streaming has not worked okay, which is a bit of a shame really. I don't know if it's anything to do with the camera. Maybe now I'm like the resolution is so much higher, I can't stream at the quality level I was trying to, because the stream just dropped out after 10 seconds. So if you're watching the stream, you won't have seen any of this, and you won't until I post the recording. So I do apologise for that. That was not how it was supposed to happen. But I'll the reason for doing it this way is I want to review the video of how, like, the quality with using this camera. It's a 4K camera, 4K lens, and see if it's so much nicer and better than what I had before that it makes it worthwhile doing. But maybe I'll have to jostle around the resolution a little bit for streaming to make it something that I can use to stream as well, because for whatever reason my computer maybe, or YouTube or the internet or something, means that the stream kind of died right at the start of this video, which is a shame. Alright, I think that's everything from me. Enjoy whatever it is you're doing this weekend. If you're off this week, have a good one. If you're not, then neither am I, so run it together, hey. Have a good weekend, whatever you're doing, and I will talk to you again next time. Thanks.